This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation. Contact the show on Twitter, on Facebook, and on our website, Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome. This is the Superbike Show. It's Motorsport Radio once again. My name is Lester, and joining us to talk about everything that happened over the past week this evening, please welcome our expert panel of guests: Luke Newman, Dawn Hammersley, Jay King, and Lewis Ray as well. A nice spread of people from all over the country. And we'll be talking about BSB tonight, MotoGP, World Superbikes, and BSB support classes, including maybe one of the best races of all time in the Honda British Talent Cup. We'll get on to that later. And any breaking news that erupts throughout the show, as I'm sure it definitely will do, to try and catch us on the back foot. Hello, good evening, Luke. How are you?
Hello, Lester. I'm decent, thank you. How are you?
I am also very decent, thank you. Yes. Hello, Dawn. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good to see you again. Good to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and there's no Jack this evening, and that's because
he's in Mugello at the moment.
Yes, in Mugello, getting ready to conquer the world, and in the MotoGP Esports Championship. And I think he's set to, is this right, Dawn? He's set to find out exactly which team he'll be riding with tomorrow, even though it's probably going to be KTM, I think.
I think the announcement's going to be sometime tomorrow.
Something like that. He was pictured on social media with a load of KTM gear, so we're very pleased for him, and we'll catch up with him maybe on next week's show. Also, Jay King on tonight's show. Jay, you've been absent recently because you've been doing lots of running with your legs and stuff.
Yes.
What's all that about?
Paying to go running. Yeah, it's the way forward. But we're all done with that now. Look, good to be back on the show and sitting down.
Well, yeah, that's a start. I mean, yeah, okay. And Lewis Ray as well. Lewis, if you don't know who Lewis is, you can check him out, his dulcet tones on the Fab Racing Mini Bikes British Championship coverage, which is on Motorsport Radio and on the Fab Racing social media channels as well. Lewis, welcome back to Motorsport Radio.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. It's been a sunny day today in Scotland, so yeah, it's been a good day. I'm in a good mood.
In a good mood, good day, and we've had a fantastic weekend of racing. Just before we get into the conversation, though, I would like to invite you all to get involved in our conversation this evening, because we are streaming live all over the Tinternet, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Twitch, on wherever else. We're also streaming as well. Basically, you can join the conversation, literally, have your say, and disagree with anything that we've got to say about opinions and stuff. And hopefully it won't turn into too much of an argument like what was in the BSB paddock at the weekend, which we're not going to talk about.
Oh, well, I don't know about this. Tell me.
Which we're not going to talk about. Anyway, but yeah. Luke, let's start off with the main big headlines then, and let's go through them. What's been going on?
Well, the biggest headline comes out of the MotoGP paddock, where the Finnish Grand Prix has been postponed for the third time. The circuit would not have been homologated in time, and the ongoing geopolitical situation in the region is the given reason for the postponement. It's now supposed to take place in 2023. I'm going to open this up to all of you on the panel. What are your thoughts on the Finnish Grand Prix being postponed for another season?
I'm more looking forward to will they replace it with another new track, or will we go to another track twice? So it'll be interesting to see where we go now. I would like to go back to, is it Brno in the Czech Republic? We've stopped going there recently, so it'd be good if they could put that one back on the calendar to replace it with.
Any thoughts on what was the name of the track again? Was it the Kimi Ring? Kimi
Ring.
Yeah. Dawn, any thoughts on the loss of that again?
Yeah, it's a shame, but like I agree with Jay, it will be interesting to see what they actually replace it with. Could it be a circuit that they perhaps haven't been before, or
what would you prefer?
I don't know. Donington. Replace it with Donington.
Yeah. Let's maybe like what I think F1 used to do back in the day, just have like a generic EU. Oh, we're not even in the EU anymore. Never mind.
Or Laguna Seca as well. That used to be mega as well, even though it is a bit dangerous. It is a mega track.
It's kind of dangerous, yeah. Sorry a bit. Lewis, have you any thoughts on?
Yeah, it's disappointing. In fact, it's I think the second or third time that it's been postponed, but there's nothing we can do about it. But I don't see Czech Republic replacing it, and I would love it to replace it, but it's just the condition the track was in. By the time we were last at it, the track was in terrible condition, and I don't think they had the funds to resurface it, so I don't think we'll go back there. But I would pay big money for MotoGP to be back at Donington Park.
Yeah, be mega. Oh, Cadwell, that would be good. Let's get a Cadwell.
Yeah, the usual. Nürburgring as well, yeah, all the usuals.
Marquez over the mountain, that was epic.
From what I had seen, I don't know if they are planning on going to a different Grand Prix. It would be good if they did. Again, like Lewis said, I don't think the Czech Republic would happen, but I think they're just planning on keeping it to a 20 race calendar now, I think, so, which is a shame to not see anything, but...
Okay, and what other news is in the midst, Luke?
So, in Estoril, World Superbikes delivered 3 thrilling races. The big 3 riders, Bautista, Ray and Toprak, continued to dominate, with Bautista winning race 1 and Ray winning the Superpole race and race 2. Jonathan Ray's also broken another record, as he has now got the longest winning career in the World Superbike class. In World Supersports, Domi Agata did the double, with British rider Kyle Smith finishing second in race 2. BSB round 3 saw Yamaha dominate at Donington Park. Kyle Ryde took this victory in race 1, and Jason O'Halloran did the double on Sunday as he won race 2 and race 3. He claims the best I've ever felt on this bike. Brad Ray followed closely behind his fellow Yamaha riders as he claimed the podium in every race of the weekend.
Yeah, certainly. We'll be delving into BSB a lot more later in the show, and championship standings and stuff like that, and super sport, and how your favourite riders got on, or how our favourite riders got on versus how we wanted them to actually get on, that sort of thing. But yeah, World Superbikes, as you say, Luke, couple of thrilling races, or a few thrilling races, as you say. And now I did, because I was at Donington, I didn't actually see them yet, so I'm at a bit of a disadvantage, but hopefully someone else did. Lewis, did you see any World Superbikes?
Yeah, it was pretty races, exactly what you'd expect from World Superbikes, just the top guys going at it. This weekend it was mainly conserving the tyres, which Bautista just seemed to have the upper hand with. Throughout all the races, it just seemed that Ray and Razkatioglu throughout the race, their tyres would just drop off and Bautista would have something left in the bank. He played it really smart, actually. But I also noticed that Ray, I think in race 1, as soon as he started getting passed by Razkatioglu and Bautista, as soon as that happened, he started just getting flustered and starting to make mistakes that we don't normally see from the 6-time champion, which was quite unusual.
Yeah, and anyone else watch the World Superbike action from the weekend? No Jay? No Luke?
No. All I saw was the Toprak save.
Oh yeah, the old...
Yeah, which looked pretty insane when you see the still pictures and think, well, he looks like he's pretty much crashed in one of them. But and I saw he obviously got picked to the line, because I believe that was on the last lap of the race, and Johnny got into the line. So it must have felt like all his Christmases came at once when he saw that happening, because he just out-dragged him to the line. But yeah, fair play.
Yeah, Johnny managed to pass Toprak when he was making that save, and with Bautista and Toprak in race 1. It was Bautista that beat Toprak to the line with his power out of the final corner.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And World Supersports, as we mentioned, Agata with Kyle Smith as well, who we had on the show the other week, finishing on the podium in a wet race 2. So congratulations, Kyle Smith, for that. That was good effort, I would suggest. BSB, and there was lots of concern over the weekend regarding Josh Day. He had a massive accident on the Saturday. He was sent to hospital. There was lots of concern about him because he was put in seemingly a precautionary coma, and he's if you've not been following the news, he's now out of that coma and awake and slowly gaining his way back to full fitness and full health. Still quite a way. I don't think there's been an update today, other than just to build on that bit of news that we had yesterday, which is relatively good news, I would suggest, because, considering the amount of worry that we all had for him, but it's good to see him on the mend, albeit quite slowly, one would suggest. So Josh Day getting better, which is fantastic news, really. Race 1 in BSB, and Luke, talk us through it.
Race 1 in BSB, Kyle Ryde and Jason O'Halloran gave us an amazing battle until the very final corner through the Roberts chicane, and it was both of them full on going out on the last couple of laps. Kyle Ryde went underneath O'Halloran on the exit onto the finish straight and just pipped him to the line because he got a better drive out of the final corner.
And overall race viewpoint, Dawn, did you watch race 1 BSB?
Yes, I did watch race 1. It was thrilling, really good. Really pleased for Kyle Ryde as well to get that first winning, but pleased for Jason as well to be back up there. He's been really quiet previously. He must be very relieved.
Yeah, Jason O'Halloran, an interesting character, certainly, and he's, like you say, missed out on being at the sharp end in races for a number of years now, certainly versus where his fans want him to be, certainly. But race 1 BSB taking place on that Saturday. Anyone else see the race number 1 in BSB? Any thoughts on that? Anybody?
Apart from we could have had 2 dead heats, because this one was very close to being a dead heat as well, but it was a brilliant lunge by Jason on that last, should we call it a chicane at Donington, and I thought he was going to do it, but Kyle literally used every millimetre he could of curve on the inside and managed to just get it across the line. So it was good for Kyle because he struggled a bit. Well, he did struggle at Alton Park, but he was having arm pump surgery in between these 2 rounds, so he struggled at Alton Park on the last few laps, so it must have felt good for him to be able to do the full race all the way to the end and get the victory. So it made all that operation worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely. The winning margin, 0.038 seconds, ultimately. And that wasn't even, it says a lot about how close things are, really, because that wasn't even the closest finish of the weekend, which we'll get onto later. And it wasn't even the most spectacular race of the weekend. We're going to talk about Talent Cup later, basically. Yeah. But Lewis, did you see BSB race 1?
Yeah, it was probably the best race of the year that we've had so far. One person who we haven't spoke about yet is Karen McKenzie, obviously coming back from his injury, and he got a respectable 10th place. So he's already back in the points and trying to get enough points to make it into the showdown. So it was a great ride from him, who I believe was also suffering from some arm pump.
Yeah, good point, I suppose. Mackenzie back again, picking up a good haul of points. And, he could have very easily, I suppose, sat this round out, couldn't he? were we expecting him to be back? Maybe half and half, perhaps. Not entirely, but he did all right, I suppose. I didn't actually know about the arm pump though. So
he's got quite a few weeks to rest now before we go to the next round, because obviously we've got the TT now. So I reckon he'll be nearly back to full fitness by, I believe, Knock Hill's next round. So he, should be all good to go by then, I reckon.
If he does get any rest in, and he should. So, overall thoughts on just finally before we move on from race number 1, Dawn. Anyone overperform from your point of view in race 1?
I'd say Tara McKenzie, really. I wasn't expecting him to do as well as he did, really. Yeah. And I just can't wait till he does get back to it, because then you put him in the mix with Brad Ray, O'Halloran, and Carl Ryde, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, he's looking that way. He's looking for a big showpiece event at Knock Hill, isn't it? Certainly.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Hello, by the way, just checking comments on people tuned in live. Hello, Alan Standing, who's just, I think, referring to World Superbikes. He's saying that he's gutted for Scott, that he ain't got a good bike under him. The BMW needs to be up. The BMW needs to up their game. That is, and I think we can all agree with that, certainly, because. Yeah,
even though I didn't see it, was he a little? Was there better improvements this weekend from the BMW?
There was signs of improvements. Qualifying was definitely better, but their race pace was not as good as qualifying at all. He dropped in all 3 races from where he qualified.
So, is he by far and away the quickest BMW out of all the rest of them, or is
Van der Mark wasn't there again? He's got another injury. I think he picked up a hip injury. And then it's Baz and Laverty, which he has to compete with. And I think Scott had a test at Portimao. I think he was there slightly longer than the Bonovo boys of Laverty and Baz, so he's got even more track time under his belt on the BMW. So he's going to have slightly improved compared to where they are. So at the moment, yes, but we'll see when Van der Mark's fully fit.
Yeah, it's still a massive gap to catch them 3 in it, though, to be fair. But yeah, we'll see. But it's not just the bikes; they are 3 quality riders, because obviously Lowe's and Ruben Rinaldi doesn't go with them, and we don't know exactly if they're the same bikes as them 3. But you would have thought if they would be good enough to go with them 3 as well, wouldn't you? So hopefully the BMW will improve. It needs to.
Well, just going back to what we were talking about earlier regarding the possible, it's not going to happen, but let's say a fantasy world championship in MotoGP, if there was to be a replacement race for the Finnish Grand Prix, I think a lot of people in agreement all suggesting the same thing, as Kyle Winter has also suggested, Donington. So, although I think maybe Silverstone might have something to say about that. Like, oi.
Do you reckon if you put it to a vote to all MotoGP fans, do you reckon they would vote Donington instead of Silverstone if they could swap it?
That's exactly what I think they'll do. But you don't always get what you want as a fan, do you?
No, I would like it to see it go back to Donington, because to be fair, Donington is better than what it was when they used to have MotoGP. There is a lot better now. The paddock area and things like that. So
I'm sure MSV and Jonathan Palmer would also like it to go back there. Well, I mean, I know they'd like it to go back there, because that's why they made such. Why they continue making so many great investments and. To the paddock and the general upkeep of Donington. And if you think about how Donington's come on just in the last few years since MSV have taken it over, it's a great improvement, I would suggest. So something to think about there, Donna, just saying. Anyway.
It's definitely better to watch at Donington than Silverstone, let's put it that way.
Still, money talks, and I don't know what the details of the agreement. But anyway, back to BSB for the time being, and on to BSB race number 2. Luke, guide us through it. Give us your race report. Is that the one you didn't watch?
I only managed to watch the highlights from BSB race 2 and race 3 because don't have Discovery, don't have Quest. On my,
they're going to be started
Xbox,
on
I
that.
didn't watch that. So, but Jason O'Halloran won his first race of 2022 with Bradley Ray back on the podium in second and Lee Jackson in third on the Kawasaki. And a standout ride that I wanted to point out, I know we've mentioned them, but Taron McKenzie finished 6th in this race, which I thought was a very good effort from Taron.
Yeah, once again, a good shout out for Taron McKenzie. What did you? I'm going to ask Dawn actually. Dawn, did you? I'm presuming you did watch race 2 BSB. Did you? What did you think of it? If you did?
Yeah, I was positioned at Redgate for race number 2.
That was good. And your thoughts? How things played out? Did you enjoy it? What happened? Did you? Were you cheering for anyone in particular?
Yeah, the Yamahas, I think they're my favourite. And good ride by Lee Jackson again. And he keeps outdoing Rory Skinner as well. So, yeah, tough competition between them two at the moment.
There is, yeah.
Yeah. And I was a little disappointed, I suppose, with Tom Sykes, really, because I think everybody was putting on him with it being at Donington, would he do something? But him and Brooks, I think, were pretty close together in the race. So, I think they had a disappointing round again, really.
Maybe. I've suspected since round 1 that maybe we, as the fans, have been expecting too much, overhyping them a little bit too much. Oh, wow, Tom Sykes, he's going to be amazing. He's going to obviously come back and be fantastic. And, well, it doesn't work like that, does it? So.
I don't think it's just Tom Sykes. I think, like, for the first time in a real long while, the Ducati just doesn't seem to be the bike to be on in BSB at the moment, because we all know how quick Tommy Bridewell is. Obviously, he knows all the BSB tracks really, really well, and he's struggling as well. And obviously, Tom Sykes, all right, he has raced in BSB a long time ago, but a lot of these tracks have changed a little bit since he last rode, so he was never going to be really, really quick straight away. Scott Redding wasn't even like up the front for the first few rounds, but I think the Ducati's just struggling this year in BSB because Josh is down there, and like I said, Tommy's struggling as well.
Lewis, your thoughts on how race 2 played out in BSB?
Yeah, the Ducatis were disappointing once again. Haslam had a pretty good ride, finishing in 5th place, which is probably the best that we've seen him all season. He's had a pretty up and down weekend as Haslam, but it's nice seeing him back up front. But just touch on the Tom Sykes subject. Everyone thought it would be amazing with the Donington Park. He's the man of Donington Park who would do amazing. But I honestly think it's the worst I've seen the Ducati in a long time in British Superbikes. No one, especially at Donington, no one could do anything, get anywhere near the top guys. And it was just the Yamahas up front once again. But the Kawasaki's, I would probably say it's the best we've seen them this season. Both bikes were up the front. It was nice seeing Lee Jackson fighting for podiums again, and Rory Skinner up front as well. So, yeah, it was a good race, but I feel like it was slightly overshadowed by the drama in race 1.
Okay. So do we know exactly why? Because certainly at the last round at Alton, the PBM team seemed a little bit puzzled about why they were having such troubles, or because I remember them, I think, going back to previous years, they put the previous setup from like 2019, Scott Redding on, and it seemed to go all right back then, which is kind of dramatic as a solution, I suppose. But I guess they're still not really figured out what the problem is and how to fix it.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think the issues properly started coming in once they changed, I think, the tyres in the championship. There's a slight change to the compound, and then it just seems that Ducati went backwards from there.
Oh, okay.
Whenever they talk to Tommy on the grid, like Jamie Whittam and that, he always seems to sound like he always says that he's riding around problems. He never sounds happy with the bike, and he never says like, oh, it's working really well. He always seems to say he's riding around problems. So, and last year Tommy had a really good season, I think. It was only really Taran that kind of took it to him in the last half of the season. So yeah, it's hard to say. And obviously Christian Hidden had quite a few good rides on that bike last year, and he's another one to shout out for this weekend at Donington. I think that Suzuki bike isn't up for it, and Christian was pretty near the front, so I think he's kind of riding the wheels off that Suzuki a bit.
Yeah, certainly. Eden and Ryan Vickers, I also noticed in race 2, he got I think he was like 9th or 10th or something like that.
Ninth, yeah.
A bit higher than even Chrissy Rouse as well.
I was about to say, Chris, he got his best results I know he's only been as BSB for a little while, but I think they were his first point scoring finishers, and they were well in the points as well, so he rode well. Yeah,
definitely. So overall, a bit of a nice, refreshing race 2 for a handful of people, while other people continue to pull their hair out. Definitely. Race number.
I think Peter Hickman came from pretty far back on the grid to come 4th, didn't he? He had a good start after the race. So. But once again, the BMWs are struggling. I think Andy Irwin had an injury from the start of the weekend, and Danny Buchan was pretty low down all weekend as well. So BMW struggling again.
Interesting. Okay. Any other final thoughts on BSB race number 2?
Done.
Okay. And just before we move on to race number 3, if you are tuned in, either live or listening back to us, you can also, because we do like to read the comments and stuff, nice comments, of course, add your comment to the comments box below, wherever you're tuned into this. And feel free to agree or disagree with us, because we don't mind, as long as you keep it clean. It'd be nice. But yeah, BSB race number 3 then. Luke, tell us what happened.
Again, the top 3 was exactly the same as in race 2. O'Halloran won again, Bradley Ray was in 2nd, and Lee Jackson was in 3rd, still outperforming Skinner, who was 4th, so it's a good ride from him. I would like to point out from race 3, Tom Sykes finished 7th, and I finally got a prediction right, as I predicted last week that Tom Sykes would get a top 7.
Oh, really? Is that what you said? Okay.
Scrape that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done for predicting finally that he would eventually get a top 7. That's a bit of a wide.
Finally got one right.
Well done. Yeah.
Well, I'm not happy because I said he'd win the championship, and I think that's not going too well at the moment. So.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Dawn, what were your thoughts on BSB race number 3?
Yeah, it probably wasn't as exciting as the other 2. Like I say, it's a bit of a carbon copy from race 2. But yeah, it was enjoyable. Yeah. Like I say, Danny Buchan, he just seems to be not there at the moment. Whether he'll be better at Knockhill, because I think, did he get 2 wins there last year?
I think he's won on the Kawasaki and the BMW there previously. So yeah, hopefully he gets the confidence back.
Be interested to see what he can do in the next round.
A lot of people looking towards Knockhill, I think, as being like, it's almost like...
it's a very specialist track.
It's different, yeah. It's like it's a bit like when they go to Cadwell. It's like when the World Championships leave those boring autodrome type things, and the European season starts. That's like Knockhill, isn't it? It's like, everyone goes to Knockhill, right? I'm gonna, first few races I've had a bit of a, but just wait till Knockhill. I'll show you. It's kind of like that, isn't it? I think for some people. Standout performances from race 3, if there were any. Just having a look at the old result. Chrissy Rouse, top 10 again. Yeah.
Slight improvements by the 2 Ducatis, but very slight. So, and by that race, Taran looked a bit, should we say, tired or a bit knackered by that race, because he went backwards a bit. But that's totally understandable, in it. So with his injuries and that, he still scored points. So I think he'd be happy with the 3 results he got.
Okay. And
also a shout out to Leon Haslam on how to destroy Kawasaki as well. That was a pretty huge crash.
Yes.
He completely wrote that bike off.
Indeed, yeah. That was a bit of entertainment for us all. But Lewis, race 3 BSB, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was pretty similar to race 2, to be honest. Same top 3, but yeah, it was a good ride. Once again from Christian Eden on that Suzuki that is practically the same bike as it was, I think, like 4 years ago, with a slight update. The Suzuki's Superbikes are, there haven't been too much development in the past couple of years, but he seems to be enjoying it, and he seems, well, if I was him, I'd be looking back at his move as the perfect decision, looking back at these PVMs. But maybe this might be the start of them turning around the problems. They might have found something slightly. But once again, both Josh Brooks and Tom Sykes were just next to each other pretty much. I think they were 7th and 8th in the results. So, yeah, it's definitely a bike thing for them. But Lee Jackson once again on the podium. So, yeah, it's pretty similar to race 2. And I think everyone, especially Danny Buchan and Rory Skinner, will be looking towards Knockhill.
Yeah, and that's Knockhill round in a few weeks' time, 17th to the 19th of June. So, in pretty much a month, because we've got the TT before then. So BSB standings as we leave Donington National. It's Brad Ray leading the standings on 158 points, if I've done my calculations correct. Then it's Jason O'Halloran in second, Lee Jackson in third, Kyle Ride just slipping down to fourth, Rory Skinner still there, he's in fifth, he's 1 point behind Kyle Ride. And then Glenn Owen, Christian Idden, who some people might have thought might have been surprising to be in seventh at this point in time.
Very consistent.
Yes. Peter Hickman in eighth. Tommy Bridewell languishing down in ninth place. Josh Brooks, depending on your view of how well you wanted Josh Brooks to go, he's either all the way down in 10th place or he's as high as 10th place. Depends on your perspective, I suppose.
I don't think it's going to get any better for the other Ducati riders, is it? Because they don't normally do very well at Knockhill, do they, the Ducatis? So it's going to be tougher for them there as well.
We will see. I don't know. I'm not joining in on any predictions just yet because, I'm learning from you lot to not make predictions. Then Danny Buchan and Andrew Irwin, Leon Haslam. He's there. He's picking up points consistently, I suppose. Tom Sykes is languishing down in 14th place. You can't really hide that. Taron McKenzie's quickly dragging a few points together. 21 from the first weekend. Pretty decent, I suppose. Ryan Vickers, Chrissy Rouse, Tom Neve, Storm Stacey. I thought he would have been doing a bit better. And Dan Linfoot rounding out the top 20 in terms of points in BSB. There we go. Nice little graphic that I made. Championship standings so far then. I'll just ask you about your thoughts on it, Luke. As it stands right now, BSB standings, yes, there's a long way to go. We've got Knockhill next, and then it's Brands Hatch afterwards. Then it's Thruxton, and then Cadwell Park, then Snetterton, Alton Park, then a return to Donington, but the GP circuit. That's in September, end of September, before ending the season. Middle of October at Brands Hatch. So still a long way to go, many races still to go. But as it stands right now, your thoughts on those championship points?
I think Brad Ray has had an amazing start to the season. Obviously, there was the mistake at Silverstone when he was leading, which would have increased his points lead a bit. But I think he's had a very consistent and strong start. Jason's coming on strong now, and I think if Jason can carry the momentum to Knockhill, then it'll probably go between Brad Ray and Jason for a lot of the season. I'm not sure how well the Kawasaki's doing well, but I'm not sure if it will stay for the whole season between the Skinner and Jackson being competitive at every round compared to the Yamaha, which seems, especially last year, like it was competitive everywhere.
Okay, and just going through everybody in order on the panel. Dawn, your thoughts on how BSB is and the standings are looking so far, and did you expect them to be looking like this before the season?
I think before the season, I think I would have expected sort of Jason to be in first place, and we didn't really know how Brad Ray and Carl Ryder were doing. And I really would have expected, I've just got the top 8 wrote down here, the showdown, looked like Tommy Bridewell's not in there. So, will he have a charge towards the middle of the season and perhaps get in the top 8? You'd expect it. But yeah, I didn't think Brad Ray would be leading as early as it is, but it's all good.
Yeah, certainly. And Jay?
I definitely thought Brad was going to be like kind of the outside bet, just by like how he was pretty much top of every session in testing. Like I said, I'm surprised with Tom Sykes not being up there. Haslam as well. Obviously, that was kind of a new team and kind of a new start for them. So yeah, I think Tommy Bridewell will come through eventually. I think he's very good at biting the screen, shall we say, and I think he will get near the front again. I think he's just maybe, instead of like Josh Brooks and Tom Sykes, who are kind of just happy to ride at that pace that they think the bike goes, Tommy Bridewell's kind of having a few DNFs where he's trying to ride around the problems and maybe overriding what that bike's capable of at the moment. So I think Tommy Bridewell will eventually get there. But apart from that, I think he did show a good pace at the end of last season. Apart from that, I think everyone's pretty much in the place I thought they would be. So just the Ducatis, really, a bit of a shock, really. I thought it was just Josh Brooks last year, but clearly it's not. And it was showing how well Christian Idion was riding it last year.
Maybe that's some small comfort to Josh Brooks, perhaps. But yeah. Lewis, your thoughts on BSB, the championship as it stands right now, before going to Knockhill, where I'm sure you will obviously be attending. That's not just a Scottish stereotype, but you are actually going to Knockhill, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, I'm in Knockhill this weekend as well. So
yes, you're doing your own racing.
Rubbered in for them.
Yeah, just plug. There you go.
Yeah, so Bradley Ray, I didn't think would be leading the championship before testing got underway, just because it was a few years where it was kind of just top 10s would be his probably best result, be a good result for him. But there's a few years where he wasn't on that top step of the podium and anywhere near it, really. Jason O'Halloran is exactly where I expected to see him at this point in the season. Whenever we get to the showdown, I think it might slightly change, because O'Halloran knows what it feels like to lead the showdown, and last year he kind of threw away the championship as soon as it got to the showdown, so he knows what it feels like. So I think this year it's O'Halloran's best chance, but Skinner in 5th place in the championship at the moment. Next round at Knockhill is definitely going to be where we see him make up his most points of the season. And Tyron McKenzie, it's going to be really interesting to see how far up he can get up the order from now. Knockhill is such a physically demanding track for him as well, so it's really going to be interesting to see how his arm pump handles throughout Knockhill and how high up he can get in the championship and if he can get in the showdown.
For those who don't know, Lewis is also a racer himself as well, based in Scotland, as you might have guessed. You said you're doing a bit of riding this week?
Yeah, this weekend. There's a few Talent Cup riders I'll be racing against, few BSB boys coming up just to get some track time in before they head there. Troy Jeffries coming up, Aidan Davey, a few couple of riders, Sam Rowe, coming up just to get some practice in. So it'll be good to try learn off some of the great riders from Scotland.
You mean try and beat them so you can be like, yes. So next time you watch BSB, you'll be like, yeah, he's crap. I had him. But yeah, no, all good. Shame that your racing isn't shown on TV or live streamed. Maybe SMRC is it Knockhill Racing Club or who's it?
Yeah, it's run by basically the same people. KMSC.
Oh, okay.
Will the yellow van make it up there?
The mobile motorsport media production facility it goes all over the country, I'll have you know, and has already gone to Knockhill once this year and made it back. Thank you. Cheeky sod. Anyway, so that's BSB for now. But what will happen at Knock Hill? Stay tuned and find out. On to, I do want to talk about the British Supersport Championship and GP2 Championship as well, because that was an interesting races. Just having a quick look at the results from race. Both the exact same podium in race 1 and race 2, I noticed as well, in the sprint and feature race. But Luke, British Supersport, tell us more.
Well, sadly, I couldn't watch either of the British Supersport races, but from what I've seen of picture-wise and looking at the results, it looks like it was a very close battle between Bradley Peary and Jack Kennedy. So, and Harry Truelove as well, coming in third in both the races. So, looks like it was a strong showing from all the Yamahas again, with Lee Johnston in fourth.
Yeah, exactly. Admittedly, I have to hold my hands up. I also didn't watch the races at the weekend because I was busy being at Donington. And you might probably just think, well, okay, well, why didn't you watch the races? Because I was busy doing other stuff, basically. And as Dawn will attest, if you're there doing stuff, you don't really have time because you're so focused on what you're doing, not necessarily watching BSB or Supersport, then you do kind of like miss a lot of stuff, don't you, Dawn?
Yes, definitely, because I didn't see the races either.
I'm the only one who's going to be able to talk about this one, aren't I?
Go on then.
Both races were very similar, let's put it that way. And my prediction came wrong. I said Jack Kennedy would win every race this season, so that has finally gone out the window now because...
we'll be having words with you.
Perry rode very well in both races, and he held off Jack in both races. And I think Jack was a bit surprised. When you hear him on the podium, he was a bit shocked. He couldn't believe that he didn't win, and he just said, I had nothing for him. He generally rode better than me. So, yeah, fair play to Perry. He rode brilliant in both races, but them two, let's put it this way, if they don't crash or break down this season, which Perry has broken down a few times and crashed, they will be the front two for the whole season. That will be how it finishes. It'll be either them first or second. As long as they don't crash or break down, it'll be them two, because they are just miles ahead of anyone else at the moment. So it's them two all the way to the end now. And obviously if Perry is going to catch Kennedy needs to have a few breakdowns or crashes, because it's such a big gap between them. Kennedy could come second to every race to the end of the season and he'd still win the championship. So he's got to hope Kennedy can have some breakdowns.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting one. I'll tell you the gaps, by the way, in both the races. And considering that one of the BSB races was super, super close over the line, and that wasn't even the closest finish of the weekend, you might think, if you were watching it at the time, that the two Supersport races were definitely some of the most closest racing finishes of the weekend, but they weren't. There was less than 1/10 in race number 1. Jack Kennedy just behind Bradley Peary.
I think Jack Kennedy went for the same kind of move O'Halloran did, and then Perry just cut him back across the line. So there's three incidents that move happened. So that's the reason it was so close.
Yeah, 0.094 of a second, the gap over the line in race number 1. And it was even closer in race number 2. Kennedy second by just 0.060 of a second. And they weren't even remotely the closest finishes of the weekend. We'll tell you more about them shortly.
I'd like to know what the gap to second to third was, because that must have been massive.
It was race number 2, and there was exactly 19.5 seconds back to Harry Truelove, who finished third in both the races. But I suppose if you finish 20 seconds behind, you don't really talk about, even if you're on the podium, you don't really get talked about that much. Unless you're in a big scrap, as he was, with Luke Stapleford, Lee Johnston, Eugene McManus in that chasing pack, I think, according to TSL. Anyway,
I think personally that Jack Kennedy and Perry should be on 300s to even it out a bit with the rest of the field.
Are you suggesting it's unfair for them to even be there, Jay?
Just say it's like they clear off. It's like they're gone.
Well, they only won by 10 seconds in race 1.
Oh, only 10.
So, you know, I mean, it's a bit like when, who was it? Filip Soroviak in Fab Racing, Honda British Talent Cup rider, came back to Fab Racing a couple of weeks ago for Clandau round, and he won both, I think he won all 3 races, or certainly at least a couple of them, by like 20 seconds or 15 seconds, just out on his own.
Yeah. Well, it's the same when Johnny and Casey turned up the last round of the year, didn't they? They just cleared off as well. So,
well, yeah. I mean, if you're having fun and winning races by 10 plus seconds, and you're putting on a bit of a show, then why not?
Yeah.
You know, it's literally for everyone else to catch you. You know, it's let's not get into like car racing where they purposefully slow down everybody else or slow down the top thing and then put like ballast on them. And, yeah, you don't want to get into that sort of shenanigans. But GP2, anyway, race number 1, it was Jack Scott, winner of GP2, and Harvey Claridge on the podium in 2nd place, Carl Stevens in 3rd place. And in race number 2, Jack Scott won again, Cameron Fraser in 2nd place, and Harvey Claridge picking up his 2nd podium of the weekend in 3rd place. GP2, still there, I say going strong.
Not much to chat about, really, because I think Jack Scott will get near the front of the actual main race soon, but I think he's still getting used to riding that GP2 bike at the moment. So, as he swapped teams from last year, so it's all about to say for that class, really, at the moment.
Yeah, well, there's not much to say, to be honest. Really,
I think there's only about 6 of them out there this season.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll have you know. Thank you very much. There's Barry Burrell, Thomas De Vries, Jody Fieldhouse, Jake Archer, Carl Stevens, Harvey Claridge, Cameron Fraser, and Jack Scott so far. Don't know if anyone else is. I don't know if there were more in previous rounds or there might be more in future rounds. But any thoughts generally, folks, about the Super Sport and GP2 categories? No,
exactly what we expected to see happen, really, with Kennedy and Perry up front. But yeah, the GP2, there's not much to talk about. It's quite a strange class, really, because it's Grand Prix machinery, but we don't really speak about it that much, and they don't really get that much TV time either, to be fair to them. It's kind of just a side class, which is quite strange, really.
I really expected that class to take over Super Sports, to be fair, because I think we spoke of it before. None of the bike companies make 600s anymore, so I honestly thought GP2 was going to be the way forward and just turn them all into proper race bikes, but it hasn't taken off at all, really, in BSB, to be honest with you, which is quite surprising when you think it's very popular in Spain, and obviously we have it in Grand Prix. So I thought it would do a bit better here, but it hasn't. So,
well, if you remember a couple of years ago when it was just being introduced into the class, they were doing really well, and much to the disgruntlement of the other riders who thought that they were
getting in the way,
basically, yeah. But no, I mean they're right there, holding their own, mixing it up, and not overly dominating, as was the fear a couple of years ago. Yeah, and maybe there will be more coming in. Who knows? I don't know.
They need to, because I still think the Super Sport class, it is dying a bit, I think. I think it is struggling. When you think all those R6s that are up the front, they don't even make them as road bikes anymore. They only make them as race bikes. So I think the class will eventually die out, and we do need something to take over from it, really.
Nice. Maybe some pit bikes.
Yeah, maybe. I think we might struggle around those tracks a bit.
I think so, yeah. I mean, Yeah, sort out like the kart circuits first, and then championship standings then for the super sport category, and it's Jack Kennedy way out in front with 140 points, and then in second place, 40 points behind, it's Lee Johnston. And then it's Harry Truelove on 90 points. And then in fourth place, Bradley Peary. He is 54 points behind Kennedy at the moment. And everyone else, basically. I'm not going to go through and read them all. But GP2 standings, it's the Jack Scott show, basically. 125 points. Harvey Claridge in second on 108. Cameron Fraser in third place in the GP2 standings at the moment as well. So that'll be interesting to see what happens going forward into future rounds. Super Stock as well. Let's have a quick chat about that as well. Luke?
Again, didn't see it, but Braden Elliott won race 1 from Tim Neve and Davey Todd on the podium with in race 2, Tim Neve won another super stock race on his Edwards Yamaha with Davey Todd in second and Richard Kerr in third.
The Super Stock Championship, there was I'm looking at the junior one where there was only one race. National Junior Superstock with Moto Novo Finance, I think it is. Yes, indeed. Thoughts? Dawn, did you see much of the race, sis?
No, sorry, I didn't know. I just saw Braden Elliott when he was on the podium. He was really chuffed.
Oh, well, fair enough. Jay, sorry, Dawn.
Are we still talking about thousands, or are we on stock 600 now?
The National Super Stock Championship, actually.
Okay, so, I felt a bit sorry for Davey Todd in the second race because he led literally all the way till the last lap, looked pretty comfortable, and then Tim Neve just seemed to get him on the last lap, pull a gap on the last lap, and he made it look quite comfortable. And good ride by Tim Neve. Shout out to Charlie Nesbitt, who finally got his first 2 finishes this season, because he's had a bit of an unlucky start to the season with crashes and breakdowns. And in the second race, he actually rode really, really well. He needed, I think, 2 more laps and he would have got a podium, but he was closing the gaps to the front group extremely quickly. And I think he finished 5th in the end. So, a really good result for Charlie. Also, again, on one of those old Suzukis. So he rode really well.
He also, I think in race 1, just seeing on TSL, I think he got a penalty for, he got a 2-second time penalty for not yielding.
Track limits.
Yeah, basically.
He'll be getting that from pit bikes where he completely cuts half the track out when he comes to fab.
Hooligans they are.
Yeah, I know, unbelievable. So, but he rode really well. So it's finally just good to see him get some results and some quality rides as well.
Yeah, and Lewis, thoughts? Did you see much of the National Super Stock, the Stock 1000 Championships? Any of the races?
It was nice seeing Alex Olsen back at the front again. Richard Kerr had a great ride, getting a podium on the AMD bike. And Lewis Rollo had quite a big high side. Was that the old hairpin or something like that? He had the high side coming out of it and took another rider out. So he had to start from the back of the grid in the second race and finish 13th, which was quite a respectable result from 33rd in the grid.
I think quite a few of the fast riders had to start at the back, didn't I? I think Francis and Billy McConnell had to start at the back. I think Billy McConnell got all the way up to 6th place, I think. So that was quite impressive from starting at the back. Not as good as Taylor McKenzie last year when he started at the back and he landed up winning, but still not bad to come 6th place from the back.
And also, as was pointed out by Luke just before the show, I believe, or someone, Bjorn Esmont was racing in this class and not in BSB as well. He DNF'd in race 2.
Yeah, he had a nasty crash, actually. If you've seen the pictures, he does get quite a bit of air going into that final chicane. So hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, he didn't have much of a better race one either. But no, to be perfectly honest, I didn't actually know he was due to even race in.
No, I didn't either, to be fair.
But hey-ho. Just one of those names that stands out, because you always expect him to be up, or the right half of the timesheets anyway. Championship standings then for the National Super Stock Championship 1000. It's Tim Neve leading with 105 points at the moment, and then it's Braden Elliott in second, Davey Todd in third, Billy McConnell in fourth, Tom Ward in fifth, Alex Olsen in sixth place. And, those points are starting to get really spread out at the moment. 105 for Tim Neve, 86 for Braden Elliott, and Davey Todd on 73. Long way still to go, of course, in the championship. And, I have nothing else to say about that, to be honest. It brings us nicely on to the racing that produced probably the best overall race of the entire weekend and the closest ever finish in the Honda British Talent Cup, which resulted, I'm sure you might have already heard by now, in the first dead heat in BSB since 1995, I believe.
Jamie Whitterman, Steve Hislop.
Yes. Basically, race number one, before the race, there was, I think there was a couple of riders who weren't racing, one because of injury and another because of most probably finance or something. It's usually the case. But anyway, Sullivan Mounsey came back, as you might have found out on last week's show, because we literally called him out of the blue and had a chat with him. And he did all right, to be honest. In race number one, he finished in fifth place. Brand new team, brand new bike for him, and he was straight on it. He was on the pace basically straight away. He'd not rode since last year at Donington. He'd not raced those bikes since Donington last year, where he said he did all right. And he's probably, well, we thought on the show last week he was a bit, not overconfident, but certainly very confident when he said he was going to come back in and after missing the first two rounds of the championship and be fighting for the championship. And when a rider turns up saying stuff like that, you think, yeah, okay, whatever. But he did. He was right up there, and I think he was leading at one point, certainly in the top three. He was properly on it and looking by far the one of the most, I'm going to say, exciting riders, which is not necessarily what you want, because you really want to ideally have a clean, boring race up front, really. But hey-ho, he had all the cameras trained on him anyway. But race number one, it was Carter Brown and Johnny Garness who were separated by 0.024 of a second.
That's a massive gap.
I know, that's like 200ths of a second, but that wasn't even the closest finish of the weekend. Carter Brown said after the race he was desperate for a win, and it looked like it as well, because he'd not won for quite a while. Johnny Garness looked set to everyone's, you think Honda British Talent Cup, you think, oh, it's Garness, he's going to be one of the main favourites. And it almost was, but Carter Brown just pipped him to the line. And then Harrison Desoy in third place. And Eurosport did me dirty because they flashed up the wrong championship results at the end of that race. And I'd confidently gone bouncing it. They basically, because Garness finished so close to Carter Brown, it didn't appear in the results properly, so he wasn't automatically awarded the points by their system or whatever. So it looked like Harrison Desoy might have been leading the championship minus Garness. So I'd gone up to Desoy and be like, "Oh, well done, mate! You're leading the championship." And he's like, "Oh, cool." And then I had to say, "Sorry, mate, you're not actually nowhere near." But I'm blaming Eurosport on that. I took a screenshot just to prove that I wasn't talking crap. So, but anyway, hey, Ryan Hitchcock did really well to finish fourth in race number 1, just ahead of Sullivan Mounsey, who finished in 5th place. Bailey Stewart Campbell seemed to be on it once again, having been finding his feet in the past few rounds, and for some of last season he finished 7th in race number 1. Rhys Stevenson, big shout out to him. He was another, let's say, exciting rider to watch. He was leading for a time, as he was at Alton Park, and just like he did at Alton Park, he crashed. Big shame for him and fans of Rhys Stevenson. But race number 2, well, it was crazy, to be honest. It was like the most crazy Moto3 race that you'd seen, but at Donington. And, well, a lot of people couldn't believe their eyes. It was, again, fighting for a victory. It was Rhys Stevenson taking an early control over things, leading much of the early race, with Johnny Garness sprinting into various bits of the lead as well. Keanu Via. There was basically 11 riders all in the pack, a whole pack racing towards, I think, the second half of the race. And it was very, very exciting. But as I think the last lap came into play, it was basically anybody could have won. Any one of those riders could have just lunged. And to be honest, I think anybody who's watched the race, watched it back or watched it live, we're all thinking, this is going to be a huge pile-up of bikes. This is going to be an absolute plane crash.
I couldn't believe they all stayed on, to be fair.
But it says a lot about the coaching and the experience and the close racing and the experience of the feeder series, effective feeder series to the Honda British Talent Cup, Fab Racing, because a lot of these riders, apart from the foreign ones, have all been racing with each other closely for many, many, many years. And we forget that because we sometimes just think, oh, so-and-so has just entered the championship. He's new, but he's actually not. He's been racing with these other people for like 5, 6, 7 years already. So to be, rubbing handlebars with these other kids, that's something that they've been doing at Fab on the Mini Bikes British Championship for many years. But anyway, final corner, and it was Garness who looked set to take the win, except he messed it up. He got a little bit of a wobble coming out of the final corner on the curb, and it was Carter Brown over the line. It was neck and neck and head, and it was a lot of confusion down at Parc Fermé. Everyone had thought maybe Carter Brown had just nipped it on the line, but it was confirmed that for the first time in 27 years, was it 25? Whenever it was, since 1995. For the first time in 27 years, it was a dead heat awarded. Both Carter Brown and Johnny Garness were awarded points. Everyone was on such a high because it was such an amazing race, and it was literally 0.000 seconds. And if I could find the TSL screenshot of the thing, it's literally, I've examined it, you're like, nope, can't tell, it's dead heat, yeah. There you go. But yeah, Luke, did you watch the Honda British Talent Cup? What did you think of it? You didn't watch it?
I didn't watch it, no.
Oh, Luke.
But I did see the screenshot you're on about of Garness and Carter Brown coming across the line, and I hadn't read the caption for it. I'd just seen the picture, and I hadn't heard about it before seeing it either. And it was mental to look at, to see that was the final lap and that was them coming across the line. Because obviously, I guess a classic example where it was so close was Rossi and Elias in Estoril, I think it was, where that was like, 6 thousandths of a second or something, and that looks close. And then you just see that, and they are just identical across the line. It was incredible to see.
Yeah, definitely. It was, not only was it the closest and the most amazing finish that I think I've witnessed as well, it was also one of the best races, Dawn, of the Honda British Talent Cup that I've ever seen as well. So it was by far, I'm going to say by far, the best race. And it was mostly all clean racing as well. A couple of people got a couple of track limits warnings, but overall it wasn't too dirty. I mean, considering there was 11 bikes all fighting for the lead on the last lap or the last few laps, and to have that finish as well, wow.
Yeah, it was just an amazing race, and I don't think anybody crashed in the second race at all throughout the field, which was really good.
I can't remember, mate. No, they didn't actually. There was a couple of DNFs, but I think they were just retiring.
Yeah, really good, and they're just showing such maturity in, how they're handling themselves now, that front back, and hope it stays like that. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can really tell from, certainly if you speak to them in the paddock or if you watch some of their interviews on TV, who's already. And I've said this previously, I said this to Sullivan, or about Sullivan last week on the show. You can sort of understand that you can get to see his mentality for their age as well, because they're still kids. You forget that they're still kids. Forget that.
And they're the way they conduct themselves and the way they talk to the press and stuff. It's like they're professional riders, all ready to, because that's where they want to go into the MotoGP paddock, isn't it? And they're already so all credit to the rider coaches, to I don't know if any of them have media coaches, but I mean it's working basically. I mean, I spoke to the Dorna rider coach Alex Baldolini, and he was like, "Yeah, it was amazing. This is exactly what we wanted. We couldn't have asked for a better rate, because we want close pack racing, and we've got it. We're so happy. Ultimately, I think, Dawn, everyone was just on a really, really, really high after race 2. Even I would suggest the riders that didn't even make the podium, that were potentially a bit disappointed straight after the race, even they were on high because of the amazing racing.
Yeah, and they're probably thinking it's my turn next.
They're all thinking that, definitely. But yeah, I mean, there was so many standout rides as well. I remember watching race 2 live, and just thinking, well, okay, watch out for Stevenson. He might win this. This is going to be his race now. He's definitely got it, because he was leading in the early part of the race, but he kept on making a few things, and then it was Mounsey. He was looking a bit leery. But
he held the lead for a long, long while. He every time it looked like someone was going to go up the inside of him, he seemed to let the brakes off and just stop them from coming through, especially going into that last chicane. He would be over those curbs on the way out quite a bit.
Yeah, there was, because I think it was a couple of years ago where I think he had a crash with someone else. He caused a red flag or something. Basically, he was, as he's exiting the corner, he sort of veers back into the way, he takes up the racing line again, probably a little bit too quickly. Which
that was someone else I was going to mention as well, where we see in like Moto3 Grand Prix racing, we have a lot of problems with riders like weaving across the track and things like that in races to stop the slipstream. I didn't see any of that in that race. They would all stay in line perfectly good. So fair play to all of them, because the big lads like Carter Brown, Lucas Brown, Harrison Crosby, they're big lads compared to Johnny Garness and that, and they could quite easily take those tactics to stop them from slipstreaming. But to be fair, they all stay in line, none of them do anything stupid, so they all rode really well, and that showed by none of them actually crashing.
Yeah, and it's I think For a while, there was a mentality and a mindset in the Honda British Talent Cup that bigger riders, taller and sort of bulkier riders, were at a disadvantage because of their height and their weight. But, well, that's absolutely not the case, to be honest.
There was some good ride by the bigger lads. I said Lucas Brown, I think, probably had his best ever results, and he's probably the tallest one out there, I think, because you can see when he comes onto the straights how he has to fold himself into the bike.
Well, I think, yeah, if you watch the Dutch rider, was it Mark Dewin or Mike? I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the family are nice. They gave me some really strong Dutch coffee. But anyway, if you watch Doing, you'd think...
Just coffee, was it?
I think it was, yeah. It's
they like other things there.
it certainly woke me up, but yeah. It might have been drain cleaner. I don't know. It was something. But Mark Doing, Dutch rider, he looks like an adult, and honestly, I think the first round, I think his first round that I saw him was at Silverstone, and I didn't recognise him. He's just some guy walking around the paddock, and then he was having his photo took on the class year photo. I'm like, oh, there's that guy. Oh my God, it's a rider. And then, but if you watch him, there's a really good clip where I filmed last chicane. If you go onto the Honda British Talent Cup social media channels, there's like a 1 minute highlight of the quali practice from Friday, and I was stood on the last corner filming, and he was the one who had a big crash coming towards me, and it was pretty cool crash he had. He's all right, but yeah, he looks like a proper. He's like 6'5" or something. He's pretty. Anyway, so yeah, just goes to show that basically it doesn't really matter what size and weight you are as a rider. If you can race, that's all that matters. Yeah, Lewis, your thoughts on the Honda British Talent Cup weekend, really?
Yeah, I think this weekend just highlighted exactly what we've already said. It's just how mature these riders are, and the fact that we now have a system in the UK that lets these riders race with each other from ages of 6, really. So by the time they get into the Honda British Talent Cup, they have so much trust with each other that they can get these close finishes that are literally nothing. And I think this weekend it was probably the happiest a team can ever be, with 2 riders winning in the exact same race, because we're both on the MLab Academy bike. So yeah, it was a great weekend for the class in general, to be honest. It was close racing. There was nothing separating them. It was like a Moto3 race, as was said, just a bit less dirty, even though they're meant to be setting the examples. So yeah, it's exactly what we want to see with these young riders.
Yeah, comments on the BSB and Support Classes fans Facebook group from the weekend. Claire Hill says, responding to me, saying, when I said it was the best ever Talent Cup race, she said it fully agree. It was a fantastic race. Adam Keeble said the last time it was so close was Hislop and Whittam. Snetterton 95. Stella Campbell says cracking race and even better finish. Craig Rudge said the rider and skill and race discipline exemplary in this class. A real joy to watch. Raul Munan. Sorry, Raul. Says, great racing, brilliant young riders. Christine Divine says, we thought the same. Big shout out to Sully as well on his first round back. He did not disappoint. Rob Stevenson says, superb racing all the way around, and the finish, just brilliant. Bill Hutchison says, 11 of them in the lead pack, outstanding. Sue Jones, fantastic racing from all of them this weekend. Yeah. And the comments go on in a similar way, basically. Rob Cameron from 151s says, what a race, credit to all of them, safe, fast, a joy to watch, so close at the front of the pack. And well, if we can have more of the same, that would be fantastic, please. That's all I've got to say about that. I probably should tell you the championship as well. Who is leading the championship? Officially, and not as what I said to Harrison Desai, you're leading the championship. Well done, mate. Sorry about that. I still feel bad. Should have seen his face lit up. That was amazing. Kids are like, oh, really? Wow. Well, and then we both like walked away and we're like, well, no, wait a minute. No, that can't be right. But anyway, Johnny Garnes is leading the championship on 111 points. Carter Brown is second with 92 points. Keanu Vaya on 87 points. He's third. Harrison Desai is fourth at the moment. Harrison Crosby is fifth. Julian Correa is in sixth place. Ryan Hitchcock, Lucas Brown, Reese Stevenson, and rounding out the top 9 as well. So, yeah, a long way still to go next round at Knock Hill for the Honda British Talent Cup. And it's, check that race out in full. It's still on the Eurosport Player or Discovery Plus Player or whatever it's called now. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. It is one of the best races that you'll see all year, and definitely the best Honda British Talent Cup race ever. So anyway, right, moving on. Luke, what's next?
There was the the Superstock National Junior Championship.
Oh yeah,
with Max Cook winning that race from Dan Brooks and Jack Bednarek. Again, a race I didn't see and I haven't heard anything about, so I can't really say much on it.
Well, there was a new lap record set by Max Cook, a 1 minute 9.490. According to TSL, and they would know. Max Cook winning by just under 4 seconds from Dan Brooks and Jack Bednarek. Yeah. Sorry, Jack. It's not an easy flowing name. Franco Bourne in 4th, Sam Laffins in 5th, Aaron Sylvester in 6th. And Owen Jenner in 8th place as well, with Seth Crump in 7th. And anyone see the junior Superstock? That's the 600s class. Dawn, did you see much?
I was watching it from pit lane.
Yeah, and what did you think?
Yeah, it was good. It's a shame about Lewis Vallely. He crashed out at Redgate after the race was restarted, so he's lost the championship now. Lead to Max Cook. I think it's gone down to 3rd, I think, now.
Right.
So, and that's a frustrating thing for them. They tend to only get one race per weekend in most of the rounds. So if you do crash in one, you can't always make it up in the next one. So I think that's a bit of a tough call in the junior Superstock.
Yeah, it's... I remember when Tristan Finocchiaro was riding, that was his last season in this championship, and he was due to ride in it last year, but due to injury. But only having one race, I think, played a part in his decision to effectively retire from racing. Because, the costs are basically the same, but you're getting less racing and less track time, aren't you? So.
It's definitely a championship where you've got to be consistent. You've got to be it's hard as well, because a lot of people are really riding hard, and you do get people who take over the top now again. It is very hard to stay out of the way of incidents. So I think there were 2 red flags in this race. I think they stopped once and then they called it a result on the second one. So it was I think there was a lot of drama in the race. Max he didn't get a very good start in the second one. He dropped back a few places and then manages to take the lead and get a little bit of a gap.
Any more sort of further thoughts? I mean, Dawn, the team you were sort of with at the weekend, as you say, Lewis Vallely of Valtech and Mortimer Racing, having an incident taking him out of the race and affecting his championship. Unfortunate for him. But what did you make of the rest of the race?
Yeah, it was very exciting. Like you say, it always is, but there always tends to be a few crashes, but it's always very fast. And they don't tend to pull away too much, even though sometimes Max has done in the previous rounds, but it's very entertaining.
Yeah, certainly. And Lewis, you might have probably the closest... let's say, I don't know the word for it, affinity to some of these riders, because they're roughly your age-ish, maybe a bit older than you. And you might have even raced with one or two of them. I don't know. But what did you think of the actual race anyway?
It was a good race. Max Cook did exactly what he's kind of expected to do, and that was win the race. It wasn't as close as we've seen it in the past, certainly last year. Stock 600 was really close. But I do feel sorry for the riders just with the lack of TV coverage, because you have to pay for Discovery Plus, I think, to watch the race on the Sunday, and the lack of track time that the riders do get. But it's always a good class, and Max Cook will want to keep this momentum up and hopefully win the championship and then move on to Super Sport is probably the best step from Stock 600.
Yeah, and one rider. Well, I was just looking again through the results sheet on TSL just for any names that stand out and thinking, oh, he did all right, or ooh, he didn't do all right. I won't name and shame them, but there were a few people who still race occasionally at Fab Racing, who were in this class, who let's say they get better results at Fab, put it that way, on the Extreme 200 class. But Max Cook, again, former Fab racer and Fab Racing graduate as well. I always get the feeling that he's got a bit of unfinished business on the international scene because the way that his racing ended with that, I think he broke his hip.
Yeah,
was it last year?
He was having some good results in the the European?
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the one underneath Grand Prix Moto3? He was having some good results. He even got some lap records at like Portimao and that. I feel sorry for Max because if he was a few years later, he would have got picked up in this obviously Michael Laverty system that's come through at the moment. So I do feel a bit sorry for him, but he's obviously extremely talented, Max Cook, and hopefully he'll get the chance again at international level. But I don't want to put a down service to BSB, but once you kind of drop back into that, it is very hard to get back into it. As I think we all agree, Rory probably deserved a chance at international. So it's only really Jake Dixon who's dropped out, and well, he was never in it, but has got himself into it from BSB.
Well, don't forget Josh Watley as well, though. I mean, he did a year in the what was the one that Motostar, yeah. He did a year there in 2018, I think, in 2018, and then he went back abroad, and well, we know where he is now in Moto3. So it can be done if you've got the talent, and the money.
Hopefully some of these guys will get a chance in Moto2. I'd really like to see Rory or Kyle or Brad have a chance in Moto2. I don't want to sound a bit of a downhearter on Jake, but I think he's had his chance now, and I think someone else deserves to have another British person deserves a chance now.
Wow. Okay.
So I don't want to sound bad because obviously I want to see all English people do as well, but definitely like Sam. Is it Sam? I get mixed up between Sam and Alex Lowe's. The one in Moto2. I think they've had their chance now, and I think it's time for some more English people to have their chance now.
What about Scottish people? Where's John McPhee?
Well, he's only just come back, hasn't he, at Le Mans? So, well, he's not got a choice, has he? He's got to do it this year, or because I don't think they're letting him have another year in it next year, are they? So,
well, no. I think we decided between us, Luke and Lewis, that John's going to probably be either World Super
Sport next year for sure,
or BSB next year. So that's your future decided, John. And as for was it Scott McPhee? Where did what happened to him? Talent Cup. He wasn't riding. Is he injured? I think he's injured.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, can't remember what he broke. Maybe a vertebrae.
A bone.
A bone. It was a bone somewhere he broke last round. So he's out for surgery. I think it is. Right. So he should be back soon. He's not racing this weekend up at Knockhill either, where he usually turns up if he's not at BSB. So he's taking time to recover, I would say.
Who's faster from you and Scott McPhee?
Well, I don't want to bet Scott, but in my defence, I was on a 125 and he was on a 300, so there's a bit of reliability issues on my side. So
okay.
Wait and see.
Excuses. There you go. Fair enough. I get the feeling though in this class anyway, in the junior super stock category, this might be a bit of a controversial thing to say in terms of other competitors racing, and it's not saying anything against any of the other competitors, but Max Cook might be just too good for this championship. He's come from he's obviously come from extremely fast racing
previous to this. Obviously, he did last year as well, but I don't think the Kawasaki 636 is as competitive as the R6 that he's on this year. So he's in the best team this year. That team did really well last year with Zach Corduroy. So I don't want to say he'll run away with it because I want to see an entertaining championship, even though I am friends with Max. But yeah, he is riding extremely well at the moment. And I think it was a couple of years ago, Ryan Vickers kind of did the same thing, didn't he? He kind of won pretty much every race throughout the season. So,
are you suggesting Max Cook's going to be in BSB next year?
Well, like I said, FS3 do sponsor him to be in that team that he's in. So I'm not saying that maybe there's an FS3 ride for him next year. But like you said, I'd like to see him back on the European scene. But we know how hard it is to get a Moto2 ride. So it's pretty much impossible unless you've got a bucket full of money.
Yeah, so. Interesting. Dawn, do you have any thoughts on Max Cook? I know that you obviously you've got your own sort of rider from your own team's perspective, but am I right in suggesting that Max Cook is just a little bit slightly?
Yeah, he's got something special, definitely. Yeah, I think it will take a lot to beat him, just in case he might get a few DNFs or something that the others can pull. I think it's going to be a tough one to beat.
It's stock 600s. A lot of them are nutters in that class, and Max saw that the first race at Silverstone when he got taken out. So anything can happen. It's bike racing at the end of the day. So I thought Jack Kennedy was going to win every race this season, and someone's beaten him now. So
well, yeah, fair enough. But championship standings, if I don't think I've read them out. Championship, Max Cook leading on 75 points at the moment. Dan Brooks on 59 points. Lewis Vallely, as Dawn says, in third place now, but only just. He's 3 points behind Dan Brooks. He's in third. Aaron Sylvester in fourth, just 4 points behind Lewis Vallely. So it's quite close between second and fourth place. And Franco Bourne in fifth place. Franco Bourne, yeah, wow, okay. In fifth place, and everyone else, basically. So, another good race in that championship. So there we go.
Shout out to your old commentator, Lester. I saw Tom was commentating on this in the British Talent Cup race, I think, at the weekend.
Yes, Tom Brooks back again on the international sales. My Tom Brooks impression. Tom Brooks, if you don't know, full disclosure, he co-founded with me Motorsport Radio and Motorsport Media way back when I suppose he was just a young child, because he's definitely not old now.
Did he speak to you at the weekend?
No, I spoke to him at the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. We conversed. Basically he'd gone off and done various other... It basically started the trend for all the Superbike show presenters to join Dorna, and all the Fab Racing commentators joining Dorna. Well, Tom Brooks was the first one in 2016 when we first started this show. He was the original presenter of this here Superbike show. And, now look at him. He's back.
Yeah, I'm surprised now he's a megastar. He did come and say hello.
Well, okay. Yeah, megastar. Let's say that. Megastar. Anyone can be a YouTuber, Jay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've earned 20 quid now.
Whoa. Careful.
I'll buy you Weatherspoons at Ella. Don't worry, Lester.
Sorted. Anyway, yeah. So there we go. Any other racing to talk about? Luke, Dawn, is there anything we've missed before we move on and talk about other stuff? Say again, sorry?
Junior.
Did we? Was that even?
Yeah, it was racing.
Junior. Did we not mention them already?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was even on Eurosport, so I didn't watch it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, take it away then, Dawn, if you want to give us the report on that. I don't think many people have seen it.
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, there you go.
Mikey Hardy won race 1, and James McManus won race 2.
Yes, James McManus, race 2. Joe Ellis, again, on the podium. Kieran Kent, 4th place in race number 1. And, yeah, to be honest, I again, hands up, I didn't see the Hell Performance British Junior Supersport Championship races. Luke, did you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was even on telly, to be fair.
It would have been on the live stream on the on the app.
Yeah, it was on Discovery. James McManus probably had the weirdest race win I've ever seen in that class. It was over 15 seconds that he won it by, which is something that's incredible to see in such a close class. But yeah, it was exactly what you expect from Junior Supersport. It was handlebars banging each other. There was a few silly incidents, riders going into the back of each other. It was exactly what you expect. It was a good ride from Charlie Atkins, getting a podium since returning to that class. So it was a good race. Good 2 races actually.
Now, I did say I've not seen the race, so I don't know about any of the banging around that you say, Lewis. Was any of it involving the McManus sisters?
I didn't get a catch Saturday's race, but Sunday I don't think so. No, not in the race anyway.
All right. I mean, okay, fair enough. I don't ask for any particular reason.
Not in the race.
I know it wasn't Kieran Kent, but does Danny Kent have a nasty crash in practice or something? He done himself some more injury, apparently, hasn't he?
I did hear that, yes.
I heard they put some, I don't know the technical medical term for it, some holes in his kidneys or livers or something like that. He broke ribs and, he made a right mess of himself, apparently.
Wow, okay. To be honest, I'll have a look if we all want to try and find an update regarding Danny.
I think from what I'd seen, he punctured his lungs from breaking some ribs or something. Ooh. So I haven't seen an update on how he is. I think they said he was fine and he was walking around the paddock, but obviously
I don't think so, mate.
Still be very painful.
He's only just come back from his massive injury from last year, so he's not having a lot of luck. And once again, like we said, I don't think that Suzuki's the most competitive bike. And Suzuki, obviously we know they've quit MotoGP. I don't know if they're going to bring out a new Superbike or not, or they've just called it a day from racing totally. It'd be interesting to see.
Focused on their successful car range.
Yeah. I have the Suzuki car.
Oh, you probably would. As a delivery driver. Do you still do delivery driving stuff?
I haven't done it recently.
Okay.
I haven't done it for a little while now.
Fair enough. Anyway, so Junior Supersport Championship. Just going to have a quick check on the old Junior Supersport Championship points. And it's James McManus leading by 3 points with 68 at the top. Mikey Hardy in second place. And Charlie Atkins in third. There's just 7 points between the top 3 in the championship right now. Quite close. Kieran Kent in fourth. Harry Cook. There we go. He's in fifth place. Harry Cook, I would suggest one to watch. Former Talent Cup racer from a couple of years ago. And he's always on my timeline on Facebook on a treadmill for some reason. Yeah. Jack Roach in sixth place. Lewis Jones in seventh. Chris Moffat, Jack Kirsch, Kieran Smith, and Finn Smart-Weeden rounding out the top 11. There you go. So championship quite close. Next time you see them, keep an eye out because there's a grudges aplenty in there. One would suggest, probably not. I'm sure lots of them are best friends.
I'm not sure if they go to Knockhill.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't have the Knockhill thing.
I know not all the classes go to Knockhill. I know Stock 600s don't, or whatever they're called. Junior Super Stock don't normally go to Knockhill either. So I'm not 100% sure.
who's going where and what's to come. But Luke, what's up next? What are we talking about?
World Superbikes over at Estoril. We've get into that more about Bautista, Toprak, and Jonathan Ray show pretty much over in World Superbikes.
Yeah, well, tell us what happened.
Race 1, Bautista and Toprak battled it out for the win, but it was Bautista that ended up being the winner as he dragged Toprak to the line on his more powerful Ducati. Jonathan Ray didn't have the pace for either of Toprak or Bautista, and he was, after he'd been passed by them and they dropped him a little bit, it looked like he'd almost had to settle for third after those guys pulled ahead. And then the Super Pole race, Jay's already said about it, Toprak's just amazing save to actually, because it was I think it was a damp condition, I can't really remember, I didn't see it just in the highlights, but just Toprak stayed on somehow, but Ray managed to get underneath him and beat him in that race. So Toprak on the last lap in 2 races in a row still hasn't won a race this season, and then Jonathan Ray ended the weekend taking home another win as he beat Bautista on the final lap, and Toprak was in third. So once again, the big 3 names on the podium, but Toprak's still without a victory this season.
Ooh. Dawn, did you watch any of the World Superbike action?
Just race 1 on the Saturday.
Yeah, what did you make of it?
Yeah, it was what you expect, really, but I think Toprak is showing signs now that I think he's a little bit worried that he hasn't won a race yet. I think the little, it's showing the signs.
And a bit desperate, is he?
Now.
Yeah, I mean, that's... it did well to... with that save, was it in race 1 or... What?
Super Pole race.
Is that
Sunday?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the middle race?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure what to call that, because in my mind it's race 2, even though it's never referred to. They completely messed it up in my brain. I like race 1, race 2, and race 3. What do you mean it's not race 2? It's a super pole thing. It's race 2. Crazy. Don't
Formula 1 have one of them now?
Yeah, well, they can get in the bin as well. To be honest, once you start messing around with formats and race formats, it's either a race or it's not. It's as simple as that. Anyway, sorry, rant over. Dawn, from what you saw then, and from what you've seen this season in World Superbikes, your thoughts?
Yeah, I can't see Toprak winning the championship again now. I don't know why. I just think Ray's going to just be too strong. I know it's early. I don't know.
I think it's Bautista's this season. I don't think he'll make the mistake of what he did a few seasons ago. I think he won't chuck it down the road like he did in the second half of the season a couple of years back. So I think this year it might be Bautista's. But it'd be interesting because I want Toprak to do well, because I want Toprak to go to MotoGP next season. But there's going to be so many moves about in MotoGP next season. Now Suzuki have gone, like where Rins is going to go and where...
I mean, where would Toprak go?
Mir's going to go. It'd be interesting to see where Toprak goes. I think he probably will go to the satellite Yamaha team. But then there's this whole Red Bull connection that he can't go to the factory team because they're sponsored by Monster, and it's just going to be a mess.
Well, that's one theory, of course. Bautista is leading the championship, leading by... he's got 161 points at the moment from Jonathan Ray in second place on 144 points. Then Toprak on 109 points, and then Locatelli in fourth, Lecuona in fifth, and then Ruben Rinaldi in sixth, Alex Lowe's in seventh place, and Scott Redding down in 11th place. Might as well be 100th. But he's on 35 points, and it's not going well for Scott.
I reckon if we have a wet race this season, there's still being a chance for a win.
There was wet races.
Well, they weren't wet, were they? They
were damp conditions, and he still didn't perform that well.
I think if it's a proper sodden race, it'll be up front. I'm hoping anyway. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. What happened in the other races, Luke?
Again, it was a Ray top rack and Bautista podiums. Ray taking 2 victories. I mean, someone I want to mention is Ike Lecuona, the Honda rider. He had a really, really strong weekend, finishing 6th, 4th, and 6th again to jump over onto Honda, which wasn't competitive last season with Bautista and Haslam, and he's already putting together a good, consistent rookie season in World Superbikes.
Okay. Lewis, your thoughts on the World Superbike Championship round at Estoril? Did you watch much of it? What did you think of it? Was it good, bad, entertaining? What do you think of? I don't know. Tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, it was good 3 races, or 2 races and a Super Pole race. It's exactly what we expect now from World Superbikes. I would probably personally say it's the most underrated championship, just with the amount of years of drought of Ray constantly just going up front and winning. But the past couple of years, it's produced some great racing. This weekend, the Ducati looked really good on tyre life compared to all the other manufacturers, and it still looked like Raz Katioglu was trying to get his head around the new 2022 electronics, which I think he's just switched to. He didn't start the season on them because he didn't like them that much, but I think the new electronics this year is much more focused on the engine braking, which of course doesn't really help Top Rack with his rear wheel being off the ground half the time. So, but this weekend on the final race of the day, Alex Lowes was up front for half the race. He managed to keep tabs on the front lot, but as the race went on, it just looked like he was going slowly further back, really. And Ike Lecuona had quite a strange moment on the warm-up lap, actually, by going on the grass. I think it was his front mudguard breaking and going on his bike. And, of course, Redden on the Saturday was running that rather unusual yellow livery on that BMW.
Yeah, that was commented about on the some Facebook place. But because I didn't watch it, I didn't see it. And but yeah, what was that, a sponsor? I'm guessing, was it? I don't know.
I think it was some milestone for BMW being involved in motorsport or something like that. I'm not going to say it was a very attractive bike. Let's put it that way. Not in those colours, anyway.
Again, I'll have to dig a picture up. But
I think it was something to do with the anniversary of one of their car models. I think it might be the M sort of brand. Yeah. I think it was some anniversary for that. I can't remember the exact amount, but that was the first colour that they released those cars in. And yeah, let's just say I'm surprised people bought them in that colour.
I think it was 45 years of BMW M. I think it was 45 years, but yeah, it was.
Are they all like called M though? Those cars?
I think you can buy them some non-M.
I don't know. I'm not a BMW. I mean, you know, some people are Audi people and that's all they ever buy, and some people are BMW, some people are Mercedes.
Or Suzukis.
Or Porsches, that's another one. They all kind of look, to me, all those types of, you know, performance cars, they're all kind of the same sort of stuff. Anyway, sorry. Just slandered a whole lot of stuff there. But anyway, yeah, so World Superbikes then. Any other sort of final thoughts before we talk about other stuff? Dawn, Luke, Jay?
No, like I said, I sadly didn't. I only watched highlight clips of the World Superbikes this week because same with you guys, I haven't got that Discovery Plus app thing.
Oh, we'll get to talking about that, and yeah, they've sneakily put the prices up when shifting everybody onto the Discovery Plus app. We haven't not noticed, put it that way. We see what you did there, Discovery.
Well, what I'll have to do is, because I've watched all those MotoGP documentary things now, I'll have to cancel that and sign up to that now. So.
Well, we're yet to see. We've not even talked about the proposed big merger between BT Sport and Discovery yet. We've not talked about it in detail anyway, and specifically how that would affect, well, us, i.e. how much more are we going to have to pay for other people wanting to watch football, basically. That's what it's really about, isn't it? But anyway, more about that at a later date, as well as the growing costs of the Discovery Plus app. And I've noticed as well on my Amazon Fire Stick that I can't sign in to the Discovery Plus app using my Eurosport player credentials. It gets very confusing. It leads to me swearing a lot.
Why can bike racing not just be on a channel?
Well, it is Eurosport.
Well, yeah, but not all of it, is it? Well, Superbike wasn't on it this weekend.
Well, I mean, it was streamed. It's always streamed on there. So unless, it might not be on the main TV channels, but there's always a stream of it. And to be fair to Eurosport and the Discovery Plus thing, even though it might not, as I say, be on the main channel, it's still, there is always still a stream going out of it somewhere. So, yeah, hey-ho. Right, let's get on to talking, if we can, please, about the Super Sport Championship, World Super Sport. Luke, do you have news for us? Luke does not have news. Can Luke hear me? He's staying silent on Super Sport. Bit oblivious, I'm guessing. Or more is probably a technical issue with his ear things. Maybe his batteries run out. But yeah, World Super Sport. And, did anyone see the races at the weekend?
No, I didn't even get highlights of this one, so I really got nothing. But Carl Smith coming, did someone say he came second? That's very good.
Yes, I think
obviously he's been... I don't think he's been anywhere near the front this season, so it's quite good to get a second. So, does anyone know how Tom Booth Amos did? The other English person, did he do any good?
To the internet, I'll check. But yeah, the championship as it stands at the moment in World Super Sport, it's Dominic Agata on 145 points from Lorenzo Baldassari on 101. So it's Domi way out in front, really, and Nicolo Bulliga on 72, and then basically everyone else with no points in comparison. So it's basically the Domi show.
Super Sport is slowly turning into the Moto2 rejects class, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull that face and then just go yes.
Well, yeah, basically, yeah. Because I mean, looking down the order, there's quite a few. You're like, oh, I remember him a few years ago, and he was like, oh, that's where he ended up. Okay, yeah, fair enough. And
Baldassari actually won a few Moto2 races at the start of the season. I'd say about 2018, post-COVID or pre-COVID, whatever you want to call it.
Pre-COVID.
So, yeah, pre-COVID. Yeah, he's a talented rider, obviously. But obviously, Moto2 is very fierce, and if you have a few bad results, then you'll end up in World Super Sport.
Yeah, in race number 1 at World Super Sport, Kyle Smith, just outside the top 10, finishing in 11th place. And just have a quick look. No, I can't even see him. But again...
Ben Curry as well. I know he's not English, but he did race in BSB for a very long while. That was his comeback race this weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah. Probably best to not talk about his race 1 anyway.
I think he's still beaten up pretty bad, so I think it would have been a job.
Well, he broke his back, so it's
I think he only just scraped through the medical. Let's put it this way.
Yeah. Probably right, to be honest. But Ben Curry, we'd love to get him on the show, actually, to be honest. It'd be a fantastic addition to have on the show. But World Super Sport currently being dominated by Domi Agata Should change his name to Dom. Anyway.
He races in the Electric Bike Championship as well, don't he, I think?
Yeah, the electric thingy, the Moto E, that's, there you go. Go on.
It's quite a busy time in Moto E and World Supersport, because I think he's got 3 weekends in a row of bike racing. He was at Le Mans last weekend in the Moto E Championship, fighting for wins. And then he comes up to World Supersport, wins some races. Now he's back in Mugello this week in Moto E. So he's got quite a busy task ahead of him, but he seems to be doing it. As we've seen with last year as well with Agatha, I was super surprised that he didn't get an offer elsewhere after such a great season in your first year of Supersport.
I mean, where could he go, really, other than to World Superbikes? But is that where he wants to be? Is he looking for maybe a GP ride or maybe Moto 2 or something?
I don't think he's the young, because he's been in Moto. He had been in Moto 2 since I think the first year started, so he'd been in there a long while. So I think it would only be World Superbikes he'd probably go to. So, but if he's enjoying being up the front in World Supersports, obviously we can see in World Superbike at the moment, if you're not one of those front three, then it's very hard to kind of break it, if you know what I mean.
Interesting to see how he would do. Of course, he's got to be in the right team with the right bike, right package, and that sort of thing. And well, with that, I think cacophony of sound. I think we've got Luke back now. Luke, can you hear us again?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. We were just talking about old Dommy Agata and the old Supersport.
I can hear it, so join back. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you. Yeah. Your thoughts on him then?
I'm not too sure really what you were saying before I could hear, but he's having a great season in World Supersports and of course in Moto E as well. He seems very talented. He wanted to go to World Superbikes for this season. He feels he deserved a shot there, but obviously was looked over and trying to prove a point that he does deserve a World Superbike ride.
Yeah, I mean, I'd floated the idea that he potentially might be more interested in trying to get back into the GP paddock, but there might not be a space for him.
I think from what he said, or from what I'm pretty sure I read about him, that he's no longer looking down the GP route, and it looks like the Superbike route is the way he's trying to go and what he's aiming for.
Let's say something happens, a rider in 18 can no longer ride in World Superbikes, and they look to Agata as a replacement, and he gets promoted into World Superbikes. Total, I don't know, let's go into the realms of like fantasy World Superbike picks. Which team would he do well in right now in World Superbikes? On what bike?
I think probably just keep him on Yamaha. He could be a good replacement for Top Route potentially, because Locatelli looks like he could be a strong standalone rider in the years to come, as he's doing really well in his first few full seasons in World Superbikes with Yamaha.
Is that even remotely a possibility, Dawn? Could he even be in World Superbikes before the end of the season, covering for someone?
You just never know, do you? With injuries or something. But I could definitely see him in Yamaha in World next year, definitely. Yeah. And he deserves it, especially doing the 2 championships. What he's doing.
Yeah, with the Moto E thing, I don't think, with the greatest of respect to the championship, the organisers, and everybody else who races in it, I don't think, even if you have a lot of success in that championship, I don't think you necessarily get the associated credibility of having success because it's Moto E, if that makes sense. I'm trying to be diplomatic.
Talking about Moto E, is Bradley Smith back this weekend? Because he was injured for the first few rounds.
I've no idea. I thought he was doing the Scooter Championship.
I don't think he's back now.
No.
Wasn't he doing a scooter
I might have
thing?
watched it if he was in it, but I probably won't know.
Oh, I don't even know. I don't know, to be honest. It's one of those championships.
I saw that he's in Monaco still, Bradley Smith. So I don't think he's back yet.
Well, I'll check him out. I'll stalk him on his social medias. I'll journalist and see what the latest is. Lewis, have you got any thoughts or opinions on Agata or even Bradley Smith?
Yeah, Bradley Smith's just been so unlucky the past couple of seasons with the way his rides have went. I think he was meant to be doing a wild card in the Moto2 side of things, GP2 Supersport Championship last year, but everything kind of fell apart. And this year, obviously at Le Mans, he had that start line crash, which was, it was a nasty one. So he's not had a great start of the season, but I think as soon as he gets back in Moto, he'll be at the front again. But I think Bradley's quite an interesting topic because it's quite difficult to pinpoint on where exactly his career is going to go in the next couple of years, I would say.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. Luke, what is there else to say? Oh yeah, the MotoGP. We didn't even talk about them yet.
In Italy, this weekend.
Yeah, so what's going to happen this weekend in Italy with MotoGP and MotoGP eSports, which we'll get onto previewing briefly with Dawn next. I don't know how much she can tell us about that, but
I think before even all the racing starts, we find out where all the Ducati riders are going to be at before the race meeting starts, don't we? They've said that they're going to confirm who's in the factory team and who's in the satellite teams, and that'll be interesting to see who's going where. And it'd be really interesting to see where Jack is in all this, because he seems to be linked with every team going at the moment.
Well, there's already been an announcement, I think, today, hasn't there, Luke?
There has.
Has there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you wrote it on the show notes about Pirro.
Oh yes, Pirro been a wild card. Yeah, on the. I thought you were meaning for next year's lineup. I was like,
oh right,
this. I wrote this.
Well, there was
Pirro
a sort of announcement
on the on a Des Medici in the World Superbike Aruba colours, which looks amazing from my opinion. So hopefully he'll be. Battling for the points, so we get to see that. I think they'll show that a lot on TV purely because of how good it looks. Okay, and
Dawn, apart from the MotoGP eSports Championship that I'm sure we'll all be tuned into intently before the weekend, what would you be looking forward to in MotoGP this weekend?
I'm thinking maybe an Italian domination. That's what I'm expecting. Probably in all three classes.
Okay. I'll get your exact predictions on who. So have them prepared. Stick your neck on the line for some predictions coming up. Jay, what's going to happen this weekend?
I'm going to go... Well, shall I go straight for my predictions, should I?
I mean, if you want.
I think Baldassarri might win. Is it Baldassarri? The one guy who won at Le Mans. Have I got his name wrong? I forgot.
And you're predicting him, the one you don't even know his name.
I can't remember his name. Who won at Le Mans? Is it Baldassarri?
Bastianini.
What am I talking about? Yeah, Bastianini. Getting all my B's muddled up. Yeah, I think Bastianini might win again on home soil. He'd be on a roll. He seems to be very good at saving the tyre, and you need to do that at Mugello with those really fast chicanes and that. So, yeah, I'm going to go Bastianini to win again, maybe. And, that's my prediction for the win. Moto2 and Moto3, I haven't even thought about it yet, so you have to skip me on them.
Yeah, okay. Well, that does sound, to be honest, like a pretty decent shout. Really. Not one of your most outrageous predictions, Jay. I'll give you that. Lewis, any thoughts on GP coming up?
Well, I did hear a rumour that Pramac Ducati might have a new livery for this round. Maybe, I forgot the company's name exactly, but it's an Italian company. And I think their logo is purple. So, we could see something different on that bike this weekend. But I'm probably going to go Pecco this weekend in GPs for the win, just because he was at front last year until obviously he crashed. But for Bastianini, I don't think he can possibly have a worse race than last season at Mugello whenever he crashed before the race start. A Moto3, I can't call anything Moto3. I mean, I think the Leopards are definitely going to be strong, just with how fast the bikes always are in a straight line. And Moto2, I'm rooting that Jake Dixon finishes the race is the main objective.
I think, well, that has to surely be his minimum aim, just to finish the race. But yeah, sure, I mean,
doesn't happen very often.
He doesn't like you. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna like you, Jay. Dawn, have you had time to think of what might happen in this week's MotoGP race?
Yeah, I'm going for Pecco for the win.
Okay. Should we do a top three, or are we just are we just doing winners? I mean, if you've got a top three in your mind.
All right. It's going to be a Ducati lockout, I reckon, just because of that long straight. And I think Fabio's going to have an absolute stinker, not just because he's a bad rider, he clearly isn't, but that Yamaha's not very quick, and that straight is a very long straight.
Okay, so
I think he's going to struggle. I'll predict, there you go, I'm going to go out. I'm going to reckon he won't even get top 10.
He'll probably win now, though. In fact, I'm going to say Fabio for a win. Just
to wind me up, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'll probably be right, as I sometimes am. Luke.
So I think Fabio is going to win MotoGP.
You can't copy me.
With Bagnaia in second and Aleix Espargaro in third is my podium prediction.
I see what you did there. Because if you're going to be wrong again, then I'm going to be wrong, aren't I? So.
No, I genuinely believe that Fabio will do as well. I think it will be a battle between him and Bagnaia, and he will just clinch it potentially on the last lap, and Aleix is going to be there like he has been all season. Moto2, I think Ayagura is going to get the race win. And Moto3, it's impossible to call, but I'm going to go with Foggia. It's a home race. I think he's got it.
Interesting. I'll let you off for not necessarily having a Moto3 prediction. Just, I mean, how can you really?
You can't predict it until they get to the last corner on the last lap, because there's going to be about 10 of them all going across the line together, isn't there?
Yeah, it's almost as good as the Honda British Talent Cup.
Yeah. Apart from British Talent Cup don't weave across the track.
Yes. I'm going to say that, yeah. But any other final predictions about GP for this weekend?
I do think Fabio will get a podium. I don't see him winning personally, but I do think he'll finish third. I'm going to go with. He was meant to be getting a new aero package, I think, for this round. And he won the race last year, so he does have pace, but it all just depends on how he qualifies and how he starts, I think, is how it's going to be decided for him.
Okay, well, you can watch the racing live on BT Sport and, of course, on the MotoGP Video Pass, if you're a millionaire, this weekend. And also, as we did mention, the MotoGP Esports Championship underway this weekend, where Jack Hammersley is at the moment. It kind of threw me off that, because it's a Wednesday at the moment, Dawn, and in my mind we think of the racing being on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So to see so many things pop up on my timeline on a Wednesday, it kind of threw me out. But Jack's over there. How's he enjoying it? I'm sure he's loving it, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's had a great day. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, what's he done, or what's on his agenda to do?
Today they just had the photo shoot, and they've been at the track and looking around there, So we've just been doing all the media things today, and then tomorrow it's straight in with the practice.
Boom. And, well, we speculated earlier about what team he's assigned or gets picked into, and we suspect it may be KTM, although it's not going to be announced until tomorrow. But if it is that a good e-sport team to be in?
Yeah, they treated him really well last year. They really did. Behind the scenes and everything, yeah, they were a really good team to be with.
Yeah, and he told us a couple of weeks ago about the prizes that are on offer for a season prize. Just remind us again what is potentially on offer if you do really well.
Do really well and win, you get a BMW car. I think it's worth about £75,000.
Blimey. Can he drive, though?
Yeah, he recently passed his driving test, yeah.
Oh, that's good. So he could even drive back from wherever the last round is, Valencia or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I suppose. Why not? Yeah, so that's a pretty good prize, to be perfectly honest. It's better than money. I mean, you can just spend money, whereas you can be seen in a car. And, you know, it's a slightly more impressive to win a car than to win a pile of money, isn't it? You should think.
Something to be seen in.
Exactly. So, you know, and you can parade around the streets in your hometown and going, yes, I am the world's fastest MotoGP e-sport rider. This confirms it. So, yeah, no, fair play to him. Well, that's streamed live this weekend, isn't it? On the... Where can we watch that? On YouTube? On
YouTube,
MotoGP?
yeah. On the eSports channel, YouTube, 6 p.m. on Friday.
6 p.m. on Friday. We'll check it out and we will post links to it as well. And, well, we'll just say good luck. I don't want to say too much about it and jinx him or anything. I'll just say good luck, Jack. And, well, we'll see you back maybe on the show next week so you can tell us how well you did. So I'm sure he's tuned in right now, checking us out. Guys, Dawn, thank you very much for all coming on the show this evening. Jay, thank you. I know you just wolfed down your dinner before you came on the show. What did you have, by the way?
Macaroni, cheese, and sausages. I'll be out. I won't be rushing so much because I finished my new job at 5 o'clock now, not 6, and I only work round the corner from it, not 25 minutes. So I'll be here comfortably set every week now.
Fair enough. Okay, and you finished your unhealthy habit of running and jogging or whatever it was?
Well, I'm still training. I'll still enter more races, but I'll finish this series of running races. Yeah.
Ooh, I wouldn't. Well, maybe I should actually. Yeah, thank you. Anyway.
We can go out running together if you want it, Ella, if you want, Lester.
Yeah, I'll just phone an ambulance in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, just on standby. Lewis, thank you very much for taking a couple of hours out. Tell us about what you're doing this weekend. You're racing at Knockhill, are you?
Yeah, hopefully. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind it to rain, so weather's looking actually all right for Knockhill this weekend. It's looking pretty average, 13, 14 degrees cloudy, but it's Knockhill, so we could get up there, it's hailstones, so we're just going to have to wait and see. Should be a fun weekend, and the aim is this weekend just to learn as much as we can.
What sort of championship is it that you're racing in? Just tell us for those who don't know.
Just 300, so similar to the junior Supersport bikes that are racing in BSB.
Okay. Yeah, and you said who are the riders that you said you'd be racing against as well? Who's expected to be there?
Well, a couple of BSB riders are coming up. Aidan Davies coming up. I think he's in Supersport this weekend as well as Sam Monroe. And the 300s, I think Troy Jeffrey's going to come up to try show us Scottish riders up.
Yeah, sounds interesting. Dawn, you'll know Troy from when he, Silverstone, when he was in the Mortimer team.
Yeah.
And, well, he's no longer in that team.
No.
Nice lad, nice family. And super quick as well. And hopefully he's settled now wherever he is. So yeah. Anyway, good luck this weekend to Jack and also to Lewis as well. And Jay, you've got what coming out on your YouTube's channel?
Well, when I get the hard drive back up you, I'll have the Landau vlog from last round, which is head banging, shall we say that?
Oh, because you fell and banged your head.
Yeah.
And then you went off in a huff. You went home.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't take your hard drive with you.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why it's delayed. Clearly your fault.
So Pitbike Sonic on YouTube, check it out for all of Jay's shenanigans in a pub, and I'm sure the crash had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, there is a few pub antics in this one as well.
Fair enough. Excellent, Luke. Thank you very much for battling through your audio issues.
No problem.
Amazing. Excellent. Thank you anyway for tuning in. It's been the Superbike show, and TT is up for the next couple of weeks, and we're all looking forward to it, and it's going to be great.
Wish I was there.
Wish you were there, and it's on my bucket list to go as well. And
we could go together, Lester. Maybe you could be a pillion on the back of my bike.
Well, I've been called worse.
Motorsport Radio.
Hi, I'm Joan Zacco.
Hello, I'm Josh Elliott.
Hi, I'm Ben Curry.
The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hi, I'm Bradley Wright, and I'm riding for Suzuki this year. This is Motorsport Radio.